Hey, what's up everybody? I hope you all are doing absolutely fine. This is Rudraditya, and in this video I'm going to do the camera comparison of the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4 and the iPhone 14 Pro. But wait, where is iPhone 14 Pro? Well, the video which you're watching right now is coming from the cameras of iPhone 14 Pro at 4K 60 FPS from the main camera, and the audio which you're listening is also coming from the mic of iPhone 14 Pro. I'm not going to use any external mic. Well, I will also switch to this to give you an idea that which phone is better and also how much these phones are capable to shoot YouTube videos, because I'm in a good lighting condition. Yeah, I'm indoors, but still the lighting is very sufficient. I have a huge softbox in front of me at 45-degree angle as well, so lighting is not a problem. So definitely I'm hoping that both these phones will give me a very good video quality. But now let's switch to the Z Flip 4 from the iPhone 14. Alright, so now the video is coming from the camera of Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4, and this is also 4K 60 FPS. But you know, the way you can record the videos from the Z Flip 4 is really good. Let me show you the behind the scenes. Although I cannot see the viewfinder right now because it is 4K 60, and in 4K 60 you cannot watch this. Either you have to be at 4K 30 or less than 4K 60 to see yourself in this tiny display, which is also quite useful because you know the exact frame and all. But do let me know about the audio and video quality. What do you guys think? Which one is better, the iPhone 14 Pro or the Z Flip 4? Well, this is just the beginning. I'm going to show you a lot of photo samples and more video samples as well. But first, let's talk and a little talk about the hardware, the camera specifications. So in terms of camera specification, definitely iPhone 14 Pro is ahead than the Z Flip 4 because you will get the main camera with higher megapixels, which is 48. Although when you click the normal photos, it is going to be 12 megapixel. Final output is going to be 12 megapixel after the pixel binning. But here you will get a 3x telephoto lens as well, which is absent in the Z Flip 4. I mean, in Z Flip 3 we see the same dual 12 megapixel setup, and here it's again the same 12 megapixel primary, 12 megapixel ultra wide setup. Alright, that's enough talking about the specifications. Now let's directly jump to the photo samples and more video samples as well to see that which phone is better. Alright, so starting first with the daylight shots and scenery shots, then I can totally say that the iPhone 14 Pro has bluish tint in this image, whereas Z Flip 4 is more balanced overall in this photo as well. So because the overall white balance and the color accuracy is better in Z Flip 4, I will definitely go with Z Flip 4 in these two photos. Now here in the third photo, you can see that the shadows and highlights are better in the Z Flip 4, especially when you look around the car, and then if you look at the sky, it's more dramatic in Flip 4. So I really like the photos of Flip 4 so far. Here in this image again, the vibrancy and saturation level is so good that it looks so pleasing to the eyes, whereas 14 Pro looks dull. And one thing to note is that the details in the photos of Z Flip 4 is so good, and in 14 Pro you will see crust shadows. Look at the trees in this image, you will see too many crust shadows, and this is like a birth problem for iPhone cameras. Here again Z Flip 4 is looking very impressive with those vibrant colors, whereas iPhone 14 Pro looks dull. Now a lot of people used to use a term natural. Well, natural is good, but not this type of dull and plain photos. I mean, this is not good. If you just look at the camera of iPhone 14 Pro, then you will say, yeah, it's a decent pic. But when you look a good camera which is actually clicking better pictures than iPhone 14 Pro, then you will realize that, oh no, there are other competitions. Like look at this photo, the buildings, the saturation level and the areas, the shadow areas are looking so good in Flip 4. In this photo also I can say that the Z Flip 4 is looking very lively, and it's more pleasing to the eyes. So definitely Flip 4 is so good when it comes to scenery shots, landscape shots. If you are someone who takes a lot of landscape shots, then you will get ready to go photos which you can upload directly on social medias, whereas the iPhone 14 Pro lags behind because of its plain and dull nature to take photos of scenery shots. So definitely hands down, when it comes to scenery shots, when it comes to landscape shots, Z Flip 4 is ahead, mainly because it doesn't crust shadows and it manages the white balance quite well, and also it will provide you more vibrant and saturated photos which looks very good to the eyes, whereas iPhone 14 Pro crusts the shadows especially in the darker areas, and also it doesn't look that appealing as compared to Z Flip 4. But don't think that Z Flip 4 is a clear winner. There is a lot of twist coming up into this camera comparison. Okay, now here are some shots right after the sunset, and it was not low light that it required night mode, so I clicked all these photos normally, and here I can say that the iPhone 14 Pro is looking better. But in this image, Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4 is hands down the winner by a long margin. I mean, look at the skies, the trees, the green and everything. I mean, the Z Flip 4 is looking so true to life, and it's just damn so good. Whereas because of the natural tendency of iPhone 14 Pro, I mean clicking the natural photos, it looks dull, right? Now talking about the low light scenarios, then in this photo I really like the iPhone 14 Pro as well as the Z Flip 4. It's really hard to pick one, but if you see the another pic, then you can say that iPhone 14 Pro picked a bluish tint image, whereas Z Flip 4 is again very good with perfect white balance and perfect overall color. So I can say that in the night mode, iPhone 14 Pro still needs a lot of improvements. Again, you can see the bluish tint in the 14 Pro, whereas Z Flip 4 is very good. Now in this image I can say that 14 Pro is a little bit warm, but Z Flip 4 this time also doesn't get a job done because it has very green tints as well, which doesn't look good. And in this image, I mean, it's really hard to pick which one is better, so I will leave this one to you. And in the last image I can say that again both phones are doing a good job, but I will go with the Z Flip 4 image here. And now if we talk about the ultra wide, then hands down Z Flip 4 is looking just so good. And again you can see the bluish tint in the image of iPhone 14 Pro, but Z Flip 4 is so good. But in this image, for some unknown reason, Samsung be like, if you are producing so much blue tint, then I can do the same thing as well. And in this image Samsung Flip 4 just messed up the whole thing, but rest in everything, like even if you see the details, the amount of dynamic range, the highlight areas, the shadows areas, everything is good in the Z Flip 4 as compared to the iPhone 14 Pro. So yeah, in terms of wide, the primary camera as well as the ultra wide camera, hands down the Flip 4 is better when it comes to taking the picture of a scenery. I mean, look at this, how good the Flip 4 is, and it's really amazing. Yeah, in USA both these phones comes at the same price, but in India the price gap between both of these phones is of 50,000 rupees. Now look at those flowers and trees, the colors of those flowers and trees in this image, and where I mean iPhone 14 Pro is just far behind, and this is really disappointing. Again in this photo as well, you can see that the Z Flip 4 is looking really appealing to the eyes, and it looks more attractive. And again, as I already said, that it's more kind of ready to go photo, ready to upload photo on social medias. So yeah, Flip 4 have done an amazing job when it comes to primary and ultra wide camera. So Flip 4 just nailed it, not just by the primary but as well as from the ultra wide camera, whereas iPhone 14 still needs a lot of improvement when it comes to the performance of taking scenery photos. Well, this is the only photo of the ultra wide where I will prefer the photo of iPhone 14 Pro, and sometimes I saw that Samsung Flip 4 lacks in terms of consistency, because in the earlier sample you can see one photo with a very bluish tint, and then here with a overexposure of the sun. But apart from that, like this photo and then the next photo is just damn so good, and it looks so good to the eyes that it's really hard to pick the iPhone 14 Pro over the Z Flip 4. So yeah, hands down Z Flip 4 is really good when it comes to scenery shots. But now the thing will change when it comes to portrait shots, and actually when you fit a human subject into the overall image. Like I mean, first thing first, iPhone 14 can take shots at 1x, and then here is the 2x shot, and then you will also take the portrait shot from the 3x telephoto lens, and you will get a result like this. But mainly I'm going to compare the iPhone 14 Pro at 1x, because Samsung Z Flip 4 can only shoot at 1x with the primary lens. So here is the side by side look, and now you can see, yeah, in the background you will see those bluish tints, but because of the skin tone it's looking better. The iPhone 14 Pro is definitely better, and in sunlight what I noticed that Flip 4 makes the skin tone very reddish, which is not good, whereas iPhone 14 Pro keep everything very normal and in check. Now here is a 2x portrait shot, and then here is the 3x portrait shot as well. So you can see that you will get more flexibility when taking the portrait shots, and the portrait shots are just damn so good in the iPhone 14 Pro. Now here again you can see that the Flip 4 makes my face very reddish, whereas the iPhone 14 Pro is looking just so good. So yeah, when it comes to edge detection and depth of field, those things are excellent in both the phones. You just can't complain about those things. But when it comes to the most important thing, which is the face, because in a portrait shot the human skin tone matters the most, and here iPhone 14 Pro shines by a huge margin. Because look how bad I am looking in the photos of the Z Flip 4. It's very reddish and very pinkish, whereas the 14 Pro is so good. Now this is a very tricky photo. My face is more brighter in the Z Flip 4, but the iPhone 14 Pro kept the sun quite nicely. So do let me know which one you will think that in this particular photo which phone is better. Now here is the another shot, and you can see that yeah, definitely the iPhone 14 Pro just done a better job as compared to Flip 4. So yeah, when it comes to human skin tones, iPhone 14 Pro hands down is a clear winner, but when it comes to taking scenery shots from wide and ultra wide lens, then hands down the Flip 4 is a winner. Well, now it's time to see the video quality in outdoors from the primary camera, and video is also one segment where the iPhone 14 Pro is ahead as compared to the Z Flip 4. You can also check the stabilization, which is actually quite good in both the phones, but when you actually look the colors and the quality of the video, iPhone 14 Pro shines. Alright guys, so the Samsung Z Flip 4 cannot go to ultra wide at 4K 60, whereas iPhone can go, and this is the 4K 60 in iPhone 14 Pro and the 4K 30 in the Z Flip 4. And you can tell me about the quality as well, that which one is looking better. Alright, now this is a stabilization test, and I enable the action mode in 14 Pro and super steady mode in Z Flip 4, and both phones taking this footage from the ultra wide camera at 1080p 30 fps. Alright guys, so now I have already showed you a lot of photo samples and video samples from the primary camera in indoors, outdoors, the ultra wide, action mode, but now it's time for the selfie. And you can see, I can clearly see that the iPhone 14 Pro is better here with that dynamic range. The quality is looking so good in iPhone 14. Now do let me know what you guys think about the quality. Now I can see some the exposure is too bright in iPhone 14 Pro, so the skies are not looking good. Alright, so the audio is also coming from both of these phones, so do let me know what you guys think about the overall video quality. Alright guys, so that's it. That's all the photos and video samples which I have and I showed you all. Now it's conclusion time. So when it comes to taking the photos of scenery, definitely the Z Flip 4 is better from both the wide and the ultra wide lens, and also in low light photography the Z Flip 4 is slightly ahead. But when it comes to human skin tones, when you put a human subject into the frame, then iPhone 14 Pro gets the advantage because it captures better skin tones. And also in videography mode, I mean in videos, the iPhone 14 Pro is unbeatable, it's unmatched, and the quality is just damn so good, and it's definitely way better than the Flip 4. And also it has a very good advantage of 3x telephoto lens, by which you can take some awesome portrait shots, but also while zooming at 10x digital zoom of this versus 10x digital zoom of iPhone 14, you can see that iPhone 14 is better, and even at 3x, because it has 3x telephoto lens, it is better. So overall as a camera, I mean the iPhone 14 Pro is a better camera than the Z Flip 4, but it's not far behind, especially in India. Paying 50,000 for those improvements, I would say no. But in USA, you're getting both the phones for the same price, then yeah, definitely for those type of users, iPhone 14 Pro is no brainer. Well yeah, that's it from today's video. I hope you guys liked it. If yes, then definitely smash the like button and also share this video with your friends. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and turn that bell icon on so that you won't miss my upcoming videos. I will see you very soon in my next video. Until then, bye bye, take care.